On this episode of nERDbOX Paranormal investigators KJ Hauntings shares the tale of their first investigation using a Ouija board to connect with a spirit haunting a home. So turn out the light and pull up the covers as I share a tale of the paranormal. Cousin Caitlin and her husband Gary would go to bed. They would often hear the sounds of cups and plates clinking together. You know, typical sounds of someone cleaning the dishes. This would be normal in some households if a few people lived there, but only the two of them lived there. Other nights, they would hear doors close, the steps creaking as if someone was walking up or down them, and then on the coldest of nights, the sound of hollow footsteps could be heard outside their bedroom door. Caitlin wanted answers and reached out to us for help. See, my husband Jason and I are paranormal investigators, but had not investigated a person's home at this point in our careers. We hoped that we would be able to provide them with some answers behind the sounds in their house and help provide them with some comfort. As we began our investigation, it wasn't long until our REM pods began to go off. We felt the shift in energy of my cousin's home. After asking a few questions, the K2 meter lightly flickered green. It had become obvious to us that we were possibly dealing with an entity that wanted to communicate with us. Shortly before we came out to investigate, Jason and I bought our first Ouija board. We were unsure if we would ever use it because of all the stories we heard about them over time. Caitlin knew that we had owned one and asked if we could bring it with us for the investigation, just in case we were unable to debunk the activity in her home. When I mentioned having brought the Ouija board with us, the K2 flickered again. When we asked, "Would you like us to play the Ouija board?" the K2 flickered. We were unsettled by the responses, but I needed to confirm that the entity wanted to communicate through the board. "Do you want us to communicate with you via the Ouija board tonight?" And before I could finish my next sentence, the K2 meter flashed the brightest. Being new to investigating, it was rare to see the K2 react this way. We turned the camera off to gather our thoughts and discuss if we should dare to use the Ouija board to connect with the entity. We needed answers. Therefore, we decided it was worth the risk, unaware of what we were about to encounter. After setting the cameras back up, we tried to get comfortable around the board in the living room. We recited the Lord's Prayer to ward off anything evil.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
We didn't expect the board to work and were shocked when the planchette started to move. Since it appeared that we were going to be using the board as part of our investigation, we decided to get more comfortable and moved into the kitchen. Strangely enough, though, the board went silent and we thought that our chance to communicate with the entity was lost. We moved back into the living room once more, and just like before, the planchette began to move in response to each of our questions. We asked for the entity's name, and our nerves began to get the best of us as we pulled our fingers back slightly from the planchette, but it still moved just beneath our fingertips despite not touching it. We were able to determine that the entity we were talking to was a lovely woman named Dorothy, or so we thought. We grew more nervous with each response we received for our questions. We asked, "How did you pass on?" H. A. N. G. I. N. uneasiness began to fall over us. We apologized to Dorothy about what she experienced and continued, despite the feeling that began to fall over us. When we asked what year she died, the planchette slowly slid to Z-O. Anticipating what the next letter was likely to be, we quickly pushed the planchette to goodbye to end the session. Many are familiar with the demon known by the name of Zozo. Zozo was a fallen angel banished from heaven by God. It is rumored that Zozo was the demon who possessed Roland Doe when using a Ouija board. Zozo and the possession were chronicled in the book titled The Exorcist under the name Pazuzu. We explained to Caitlin that Zozo was a demon who pretends to be someone else when opening the door to the other side with the Ouija board to either attach itself to you or cause malevolence. We ended our investigation and left. As for Caitlin and her husband, they moved shortly after. Have a story about the Ouija board or something paranormal? Share it with us and maybe it will be told in a future episode. Remember to like this video, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Until then, sleep tight.